So, we're going to talk about iPads in the classroom in general, but specifically maybe in the ESOL classroom. So here we have some of the things that the iPad can do. And it can do all of these. So instead of carrying all this around with you or having to access, the iPad does it all. And these represent some of the old and the new literacies. And if you look here, some of the old literacies, our post-its to make notes, our diaries, the newspaper, which I know we all still love, books, and then, sorry, these are the old ones, and then some of the newer ones. And some of them are now becoming old as well. A tape recorder, bringing a tape recorder into a classroom, they can be huge. Your radio, your speakers, your TV, your laptop, mobile phone, your USB key, your keyboard, your GPS, and your dictionary, all integrated into the laptop. So all part of new literacies that we hear so much about, and we heard it this morning as well from Savannah and also from the other speakers from Scotland, and they talk about the relevance of IT, digital literacy. Savannah mentioned digital media in her presentation, and the relevance of it for employability, so it does all tie in together.
Where does all my money go? A question we all ask.
We know where it goes.
Yes. But when they find out that there's tax and there's national insurance, and I think it's useful for them to understand what all the numbers mean as well. It's been a useful task. Emily's going to demonstrate the Scottish dictionary.
Okay. The first one, a boot.
About. Preposition.
The phone's about a boxer.
Adverb.
I'll see you about 4:30.
So we put the rest of the sentence in normal English and then just contextualise the one Scottish word. But the students really love this for going online and improving their listening, and that improves their confidence.
Yeah, really great, rich discussion here. Predominantly funding was brought up initially, I think, as something that's very key, of course, to progression of classes. I think something you brought up was connectivity between centres and linking in with centres and joined up thinking. Referring people on can become an issue. Motivational skills, obviously, being so important, that also blends into attendance and cultural awareness of timekeeping and everything that goes with that.
But moving on in terms of things that really have an impact on learner outcomes, we talked about duration and more importantly intensity of programmes, and questioned maybe the efficacy and efficiency of having students come in once a week or twice a week for 2 hours, and they keep coming back year after year and they're not really progressing. That using the same budget and the same amount of resources, but running programs on a much more intensive period, over a shorter period of time, more intensely, 6 to 10 hours a week, that they're moving on quicker. But obviously that needs to be something that's planned, and there were examples given of things that are happening like that in City Dublin VC at the moment. And I think it's been mentioned earlier about that disconnect sometimes between language use and opportunities in class and outside of class, and getting students to go out there and seek opportunities, and obviously the volunteering, use of volunteers in the classroom was one of the great ideas of how that could be addressed.
There are two kind of words, there's synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is when you're in real time with someone on the internet. But the asynchronous part of it, which is when you can reply at your leisure, gives the learner time to think about the reply and time to practice the reply. So things like emails and stuff, and even Facebook and those things, do give you as much time as you like, well, within reason, to reply. So yeah, definitely one of the good features.
Okay, the question is, what is the role of the English language instructor or the manager?
We want to help our students as best we can.
Yes.
We want to do everything we can to help them.
How can you promote active citizenship?
How
can you promote active citizenship and start in the
classroom? How to do that?
So the question is, how can you do that?
Yeah.
I'm putting the question to you now. How best can we achieve that as, teachers of English?
Well, you try to give them the confidence that they do value, that they have a value, and that you do respect them, and you respect what they say, and you encourage them to get involved in, if they have children going to school, to get involved and to support the things that are happening in the school. and to reach out from there and take little steps if necessary, but to get involved in their area. But they need confidence to do that,
Yeah.
and they need to have an ability with language to communicate to do that.